Thank you for joining our Adapt, Pivot, and Persist series, which is a four-part series for career reinvention amidst recent layoffs. This is sponsored by Johns Hopkins University's Integrative Learning and Life Design team. I'm Michelle Jones from the Carey Business School, and I am here to introduce my colleague Miller Simmons, also from the Carey Business School, who is kicking off this session and this series with the topic of changing mindsets for forward movement. Again, this is part one of a four-part series. We do encourage you to attend all four sessions. Each session will be available twice. I've put in the link in the chat, the link where you can see where you already pre-registered for this one, but you can see all of our remaining sessions. We will also be recording these and posting the recordings at some point on the website. So be on the lookout for more. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Miller. Thank you, Miller, for joining us today.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you very much. Thanks for everyone who's joined. I'm excited about the opportunity to present. So we're going to jump right in. A little bit about myself. I am a certified HR leader and also a professional certified coach. I've been with Carey for almost 4 years. I'm actually an alumni of the Carey MBA program as well. And there will be an opportunity later on for my LinkedIn, so I'll have that in there. But what you see up top where it says making a difference in the lives of others, that's my personal mission statement. And so I carry that along with me. So we're going to jump right in here to the agenda. So what we're going to cover today, changing mindset moving forward. First topic we'll cover is the power of mindset. You can't change what you don't see. Awareness is your way of thinking and observing serving you. Language in the pursuit of happiness, language and thoughts, and then consciously making a shift, above and below the line kind of thinking, and then some self-accountability and intentions and actions, and then protecting your progress, adapt, pivot, and persist to move forward. So it's interesting. Mindset is such an important component to success. And just briefly, the reason that I'm even here and have this opportunity to present is I decided in January that if there were opportunities to present or facilitate, I would say yes. And I remember my colleague Michelle last Wednesday said, "Hey, would you be willing to do this?" And I said, "Yeah." And then the next morning when I woke up and was getting ready, I was like, "Why did I say yes so quickly?" And I think if I had stopped and let any momentary thoughts or feelings decide the outcome, things would be different. And so this agenda, this is more than some theoretical information. This is my lived experience, and I know it works because I'm doing this presentation in front of you. Now, I wish that my mindset worked as well with leaving strawberry cheesecake alone, but I'm still a work in progress. So we're going to jump to the goals. So the goals of today's session is to enhance personal awareness, as well as improve results and productivity, understand the influence of language on your thoughts, emotions, and actions, and tools to help you change if you choose to, related to your thinking on purpose, and then just to have some interactive fun. And one of the things I'd like for you to write down is what is your goals for participating today? Write that down because that's going to be important moving forward. So if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. As you think about your mindset and the things that you do, are there places that you think about that you're doing the same things and you're getting the same results, and you're not really moving forward? And so this is an opportunity to change some of that. And some of the tools and things we'll be talking about is how do we change what we've done to get different results? So next, we'll spend a few minutes on a mindset exercise. There are 4 questions. So if take a few minutes to get a pen and paper if you don't have it. Um, I'm going to give you 5 or 10 minutes, between 5 and 10 minutes to answer these questions, and then there will be an opportunity for you to add one or two of the things to the chat. I want to try to make this as interactive as possible. So here we go, mindset exercise. So, what beliefs do you hold about your abilities and potential? What habits or behaviors do you engage in that support or hinder your growth? Who are the people in your life that influence your mindset, and how do they do so? And finally, what words would you use to describe your mindset, your beliefs, and attitudes? So take 5 or 10 minutes to write down, answer these questions. We're going to give it another couple minutes. We have someone monitoring the chat. If you have finished early or need more time, you can start adding what you've written down into the chat. And Adam, if you see a few things in there that you can read, that'd be great.
We got a note that the chat was not working, but I have fixed it, so you should be able to enter in the chat now.
Thank you, Michelle. Sorry for the snafu. One of the things I want you to get out of this exercise is it's really just a baseline of what is your mindset? What is your thinking? Because unless we can see or determine or assess um, what our current mode of thinking is, we can't fix it. We can't do anything about it. We're more subject to it. All right. Um, were there anything in the chat that Adam or Michelle that we should mention?
We have a couple from Ashley and Hector. Are you able to see the chat?
I am not. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Okay. Let me look down here. Let me see. Yes, okay. Thank you. Hector, let me read this really quick, if you don't mind me sharing. Ashley says, I'll be honest, I've been struggling with really negative, okay, mindset. This activity pointed out how, okay. All right, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Ashley. Hector, regarding abilities and potential, my mindset is that they can grow as I learn. Absolutely, a growth mindset. Love it. Overcoming the uncertainty and the barrage of daily challenges. Um, I'm able to do anything I want to, adapt, both helps and hinders, move on quickly. All right. And then I have too many goals and I undermine myself. And I like the final one. I try to follow Mr. Rogers' three rules: be kind, be kind, be kind. And a part of that being kind is being kind to ourselves. And then one more. Words I would describe my mindset have been stubborn or frightened, which relate to how I view my potential. Okay. And thank you for participating, putting that in the chat. And that's a great place to start is the level of awareness of where you are, because you can't fix what you can't see. Um, you know, and let me move to the next slide. So I don't know if anyone remembers this from what this is from. Welcome to Bedrock. This is from way, way back in the day. Um, and if you remember, put it in the chat. Be curious but most people should know what this is, or unless that I'm telling my age. But mindset is the bedrock or foundation, and key to how you respond to the world around you. And so I wanted to throw in a little fun with Welcome to Bedrock from the Flintstones. But the key message here is, it is the foundation for growth. I'm so glad that the folks that put together Adapt, Pivot, and Persist started with mindset, because it is the thing that we need to build upon, and everything else builds from that. So, the power mindset, one of the participants had put in the growth mindset, and I'm so glad to have saw that in there. But when you think about mindset, you know, a set of beliefs and attitudes that shape how you currently perceive and respond to the world around you. And I put shape and underline that on purpose, because that is the lens in which you may be perceiving the world, that you might be interacting, responding to the world. And so that's why I had us do the exercise in the beginning to get a baseline of kind of where am I at here? Um, but you have choice here to change that.
Oh, Miller,
Uh,
it seems you went silent for a little bit.
did I?
Oh, now we're back.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I think it's my headset, and I
Here.
pressed that. So let me go back. I'm not sure where. So the power mindset. My apologies. I clicked on this thing and put on mute. So the power of mindset, as I was saying, mindset is a set of beliefs, attitudes that shape how you currently perceive the world. And as I said, shaping it is the lens in which you see the world. Um, so I have a question. Are the beliefs and attitudes that shape how you perceive or see and respond or react serving you? And if not, what do you want to do about that? It's a rhetorical question, but um, I want you to write that. What do you want to do about it? Because you have an opportunity to, as you view or you have this mindset and you realize you have this mindset, is what do you want to do to change it? And you do have the ability to change it. As I indicated early on, I said, you know, I made the decision that opportunities would come and I would just do it. And it really has changed how I show up and respond and perceive the circumstances that I find myself. Grow through what you go through. This is I have a plaque of this in my office, my home office. And I think this is so critical to your mindset and the things that you go through because life keeps lifing, as I've heard. I remember being fired and laid off from more jobs than I'm pretty embarrassed to say. And I wouldn't change a thing about that. It wasn't, it was awful at the time, but I wouldn't change a thing about it because it's a part of my journey and has made me the person and the coach that I am today. Um, you know, I have been out of work for a year and a half. So when I'm coaching and working with folks, it is again a part of my journey and a part of how the lens in which I see the world. So you have to decide that you're going to grow from your current circumstances. And this is considered in my mind, a growth mindset. Grow through what you go through. So we've been talking about current mindset. You can't change what you don't see. Um, Growth cannot happen if you cannot see or you're unaware of how your mindset and thinking is impacting your choices. So, let me ask this question. Have you ever been driving home and supposed to stop at a grocery store or make a stop or do something, and you get all the way home and the thoughts of the grocery store are just not in your current awareness? Autopilot. We do it all the time. We can be autopilot with our thinking. Situations happen, and then we react. Um, and so the ability to pause and notice ourselves and our thinking allows us to be intentional about our choices. But if we're an autopilot, you're just reacting. So seeing your current mindset and how you're perceiving the world is critical to your ability to change that and have more choices. Marcel Proust stated in this quote, it says that the true journey of discovery does not consist of searching for new landscapes, but having new eyes. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. I saw something in the chat. Was there something in the chat that I missed? I saw something pop up.
Someone who wrote about, wanting to have a positive and healthy belief and attitude about self, but sometimes, you could just fall into circumstances that are, what we call gravity problems, things that are beyond your own control, like economy is an example, kind of what spurred this
Yeah.
and how to actively fight that mindset, which is
Yeah.
totally human, totally natural. But do you have any insights on, like, you want to have that positive net healthy and it's good for you, but sometimes you just get pulled down into gravity problems and how to move yourself out of that.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Michelle. That's a great question. Um, hmm, I for me, it's been um protecting my headspace, self-care. But I also think acknowledging um, what I'm feeling, what my body, because there may be somatic feelings, whether in my shoulders or headaches, or, I'm trying to binge television so I can not deal with whatever is on my mind. So I think really acknowledging and owning what that feeling is, and asking myself, what do I want to do about it, and why do I feel this way? Um, I think it's acknowledgement, but I also have to make a decision. I can allow myself some time to wallow in it and try to figure out what's going on. But at some point, I have to decide to also move ahead. But I also, how do I want to perceive this? You know, the current situation that we find ourselves in, whether it's because of laid off or whatever the circumstances, will have can take a toll on our mental. Um, but I think it's important to um, lean into family, community, but also carve out time for ourselves. Meditation has been helpful for me. Journaling has been helpful, um, and talking to um, my tribe, my community. We have a team here that I can talk to my colleagues. I can talk to friends, um, but don't keep it bottled up. Uh, but journaling has been helpful um, to work through some of those things, and happy to talk more about that. So we're going to move on to what I was talking about earlier in terms of spots. This is Johari window. And so as you can see from here, there's an open area where what I know about myself and what others know about me is the same. And then there's the hidden area where others don't know, but I know about myself. And then the blind spot in the unknown, where um, uh, they're also pretty self-explanatory in terms of blind spot and unknown. But this is where really understanding or trying to dig in and become aware of your current thinking. Is your current way of observing and seeing your circumstances in your life serving you? And is it producing the results you want? One of the things, there's a book called Language in the Pursuit of Happiness, and um, that's a resource that I would encourage you to get on Audible or read. But one of the things it mentioned in the book was one of the things as human beings, we can be poor observers of ourselves. Now, of course, if you're married or in a relationship or, your boss or you name it, we can always point to someone else that they need to work on X, Y, and Z. Um, but I think it's important for us to be key observers of our own behaviors and actions and our mindsets, because it's only within that space that we can make determinations of how do I want to move forward. Do I Because awareness allows you to make choices, to make better choices, and to see the world differently. And with that comes the creativity of making different choices for yourself and giving yourself additional options. Language in the Pursuit of Happiness. I think it's a phenomenal book. Um, but I know language shapes your reality. It really does. Um, you know, it Language influences how and what we say, um, and it influences our outcomes. I mentioned earlier on the decision um, when I said to myself I was going to take these opportunities to present, facilitate, it shaped my reality. It's the reason why we're having this conversation. Positive language. Um, Someone mentioned earlier in the chat with the question about how do I deal with this. It's part of it could be reframing the negative thoughts that you're having, and then fostering a growth mindset through affirmations and positive language. I know when I've gotten to the point, because I have said some pretty bad things to myself. Um, I've gotten to the point where I catch myself mid-sentence and I'll reverse it. I'll reframe it. I used to say, well, I don't like presenting, or I'm not X. It, the language and the things we say about ourselves are generative. They're creative. Your words that you say matter. Um, just think about marriage vows. Two people come together, the priest or the pastor um, um, speaks over them. And because of his declaration that now you're husband and wife, nothing changed other than he said that, and it created a whole new reality for that couple. So your words matter. And so it's important um, to be conscious of what you say, because all too often, we're probably not conscious of everything that we say out of our mouths. Like, oh, that was dumb, or I'm not good at math, or that's just how I am. Well, no, that's a choice. Um, your words is the power that you have to create. And so we have to take that very seriously. Um, and it changing that can change your reality and how you see the world. Words really matter. So let's do a shift here. So I saw something just pop up in the chat. Um, let's see if I can get to that. Yes, words of affirmation for yourself helps. I agree. Also reminds me of the difference between knowing what you don't know and knowing what you don't know. And then let me see. One, I feel like I have a lot of positive and healthy beliefs and attitudes about myself, but I find it really easy to fall into mindset thinking, yes, that was something Michelle read earlier. So, okay, thank you. So, consciously making the shift, above the line thinking. Um, above the line thinking allows for opportunities to flourish. There's a positive curiosity. There's a solution focused versus the below line thinking, where um, it limits the creativity of thought and options you'll see. It's the old autopilot, old habits, old ways of seeing the world. And you have to, and it's easy to slip back into that, especially when, you know, circumstances outside your control. Oh, this always happens to me. Um, no, it doesn't always happen to you, but that's that closed, negative, blame, victim kind of mentality. And we all do it. So there's no shame in it. The bigger question is, what do you want to do about it? Like, as you hear yourself saying or about to say, can you reframe that? Can you think of that a different way? Because again, going back to the earlier slide about words matter, and what you say over yourself, the things you declare over yourself are so, so important. I can't even stress enough how important that is. So, um, yeah, we have to make that shift to the above line thinking versus um, the below line thinking, because like again, the below line thinking, that victim mentality. And yes, there's a lot going on. I saw something in the chat in terms of some breaking news uh, that's happening. And I thank you. I saw that in there, the note. We will get past this. We will. We will. Um, but as the earlier slide said, grow through what you go through. You know, this presentation, this webinar, you know, this is a labor of love. This is how I try to live. And I don't always get it right. But I'm trying. Every day I get up and I try to do a little bit better. And we will get through this. Oops. So um, this is where the intentions and actions come in. So I wanted you to take 5 or 10 minutes and answer these questions for yourself. You know, I mean, if you want to share in the chat, that's fine. But what actions will you take moving forward that produce results that better serve you? You know, there have been comments in the chat about um, my current form of thinking, my current mindset, the circumstances that are around me that might be out of my control. What are the things that are within your control that you can work on? What are those new actions and attitudes that will help you move forward with a growth mindset? What are the specific things you will do moving forward to hold yourself accountable for these changes? Will you have an accountability partner where you talk to someone? Is it something that you do in terms of meditation for yourself? Is it journaling? Um, and then what barriers do you anticipate, if any, with being able to mm, have better intentions and actions moving forward? So please take a few minutes, write some of this down, because I want you to be able to take away some things for yourself. As the earlier goals was, what was the goal that you wanted to get from this 50-minute hour webinar? What are the things that you wanted to get away from, to take away from this? And a part of that is these intentions and actions, along with whatever you wrote down. And you have a Hopkins community here that are here for you. Um, you know, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe that me having an opportunity to share this is a coincidence. And, you know, there was a lot of effort put into putting this on. Um, and it really has been a labor of love, but we are here to support you. And that's just not words. So if anyone wants to share their intentions as a level of accountability, just to put it out in the universe, um, uh, please put that in the chat. We'd love to support you and see what you have to say related to any of those. Scheduling time, and thank you, Jessica, scheduling time each week to develop my own success and not letting it fall on the back burner. What does that look like for you, Jessica, in terms of scheduling the time? Reading self-help books, uh, to be honest, they motivate you and put things in perspective. They do. Okay. James, daily mindful exercise before starting my day. I love that. Um, yeah. Managing my career and carefully planning the next steps. Yeah. And Hector, we can absolutely we can help you with that as well in terms of um with the some of the coaching services that we have. Come on, Michelle. I see you popped on.
Mention to David, I think the very first one that was written is like not clinging on to the what could have been, um,
Ah,
letting go of past goals and focusing on the new pathways and possibilities of moving forward. I think that one
yeah, I love that.
very
I
relevant
love that.
to these times.
Yeah, I love that. You know, it's interesting. One of the times I was um laid off, um uh I I think I would have stayed longer than I needed to. And um there was another work that I was required that needed me to do. And sometimes life keeps life in, and sometimes circumstances push us where we need to go when we may not feel like we're ready to go, but it's time to go. Um, and that has allowed me to be kind of where I'm at Hopkins now, because of circumstances in life. Um, so I'd like to focus on past successes and weaknesses by rehearsing and answering an interview question. Okay. Well, Kyle, we can absolutely help with that. Um, yeah, we like I said, we are here to support you.
So
I see you. I see you, Michelle.
in a Q&A question if you're willing to take it. But
Sure.
you have a raised hand. If you could just put your question in the Q&A. We're not bringing anyone on live, but if you want to put your Q&A in or in the chat, either way. But our Q&A question that we're answering is struggling to move past the shame and guilt in this time of trying to find a job, feel lost
Uh,
in trying to find clear direction. And so how do you open yourself to new pathways without feeling directionless?
mm.
So
Uh,
shame and guilt in trying to find a new job, feeling
yeah,
lost,
yeah. No, I understand.
yourself up.
Yeah. Um, hmm. Well, there's a couple things. One, I think, leaning into some of the coaching services that we have, I think could be helpful in terms of reframing those thinking, and also help you with um, developing a career or a job search strategy, but being able to talk through that. But there is no shame in, or shouldn't feel, or shouldn't own, maybe decide not to own. Maybe that's the better way of saying it. Um, the shame and guilt of it. Um, because whether you were laid off or fired for cause, um, and I've been in both of those situations. Um, yeah, it stunk, but I had to make a decision on how was I going to frame or think about this or shift my mindset, because again, going back to the above the line and below the line thinking, the below the line thinking is, the shame and guilt, and it cuts off the creativity of the possibilities of what the future could hold. And the longer we stay in that space, the creative juices are, and options for the next phase of life can't come to the forefront. So you have to choose. And I get it. It's not like a switch, like automatically, oh, I'm going to stop. But each day you can be intentional about how you want to move forward. And again, we have coaching services that can help you talk through that and reframe that. And I found some of the student clients, they get a lot out of that. Um, and even alumni that have come back that are struggling with whatever, that having someone to sit across from them to understand and hold space for them um, can make a world of difference. But in between those sessions, it's making some decisions to be intentional about moving on and not owning any of that shame or guilt. Um, so I hope that answers the question. Uh-oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Michelle.
There you go. We have another question. You can actually see it in the chat. It came through the chat.
Okay.
Having too many goals a problem, or is it more of bad framing on their end? I have too many goals that is felt to be undermining ability to stay focused and make money. But I do like being able to say I have a wide variety of interests and all of these can help me reach my goal. It's very hard to untangle and get straight and feels like it's holding them back.
Okay.
And it's in the chat.
Yeah, I at the bottom, thank you for the question. Um, uh, yes. Um, the short answer would be I would encourage connecting with one of the coaches from your school. We're, like I said, we're happy because I think being able to process that through with someone to be able to decouple and detangle what those things are. And then, you know, as you look at your list, what are the top three priorities, um, in that you see in the short term that you want to accomplish, um, that might help you to, because again, I would put those into a couple buckets, like, okay, these are the top three I want to start on first, and then the next three. But I think having an accountability coach or someone to kind of talk through that with you could be helpful, um, to decouple that and help you to move forward. Okay, I know we are running short on time. So, adapt, pivoting, persisting, just some benefits of meditation, movement, and mindset that are on the screen. I would encourage, definitely, getting exercise, taking time to meditate, um, journaling, um, connecting with your community. I think all of those things are important to help to enhance your tolerance and frustration, improve your mood, and better coping mechanisms. So, um, this is an opportunity to embrace the challenges and persist ahead. And I believe we have one more slide. And so I was struggling where to put this slide, but I think this is so appropriate. You have to watch your thoughts because they become words. Watch your words because they become actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they can become your character. Watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. Frank Outlaw, this was in a newspaper from 1977. And so I want to point you to some resources: the Alumni Association, Discover Odyssey, Handshake, and then the book that I mentioned earlier, Language in the Pursuit of Happiness by Chalmers Brothers. It's too textbookish for me to read. I've listened to it on Audible. He has a great voice. It is, I can't speak enough about this book. It really will, I think, help you. And my LinkedIn, and then also ILLD, in terms of navigating transitions. And again, like I said, we are here to support you, and that's more than just words. We want to help to empower you to move forward with confidence and work through whatever you may be going through. And like I said, please connect with me on LinkedIn. And our final slide are the options for the upcoming workshops, and I'll turn it over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Miller. And thank you, attendees. I really love your engagement in the chat and our Q&A. Just want to note that this is our upcoming events. I'm going to again put the link where you can register in the chat. I want to call out next week. So in the off sessions of our topics that were being offered both during lunch and evening, sometimes we have the same presenter both lunch and evening. Sometimes they're different. You can see all the details on the website. This evening, we have a different presenter. If you can go back, Miller, thank you. In the off weeks, we've added in open networking chats. So this is a time where there'll be Zoom meetings. So we're going to have breakout rooms, people that are there to support you, and just a chance for students and alumni to network with each other, chat, talk about certain topics as it pertains to the series and what's going on. So we hope that you join there. I also want to call attention in our next week, not next week, but the following topic, pivoting and rebranding. I and a colleague will be doing the 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. session, but really wanting to spotlight our 5 to 6 p.m. session. We have Dr. Dawn Graham, who wrote the book Switchers. She will be joining and doing a live Q&A, doing a little bit of notes about her book Switchers, but really doing excellent work. And she's a LinkedIn Learning professor. I don't know if that she's taught at the Wharton School, has a TED Talk. So really recommend attending that 5 to 6 p.m. session on pivoting and rebranding. That is the only session that we right now will not be recording. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of clearance, but right now that will only be live offered. So if you have a chance on that March 26th from 5 to 6 p.m., highly recommend attending to meet Don Graham live for the Switchers book. And that's it. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. Thank you, Miller, for sharing your wisdom and positivity with us today. And thank you all. We hope to see you at upcoming sessions and carry on, move forward with positivity, reframing, and utilize all the resources that we've mentioned today. Thank you, and we hope to see you at future events.